Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. So, I have an interesting dilemma that I'm going through right now. I've been shooting since I was about 7 years old, 6 or 7, depending upon who you ask and who you talk to. And there was a point in time where I actually shot long-range competitions with scoped rifles. But how I originally got my first scope was my father had me hit certain targets at certain ranges with an open-sighted K98 Mauser. Now, my oldest brother, this goes out to you, Ricky, he's found a contest that there's a guy in Texas who's willing to pay $5,000 for someone who can play a game of 21 with an open-sighted bolt-action rifle. Or not bolt-action rifle, an open-sighted rifle. Now, I'm still trying to figure out the particulars of this particular contest. Basically, you're playing a game of 21 at 500 yards. Now, why is this a conversation, or why is this an interesting dilemma? You ever have something that you know you can do with almost 100% assurity? This is how I feel about this contest. I've been shooting military surplus rifles, open-sighted rifles, for a long time. Optics are, in the last 10 or 15 years, a thing for me. And before that, just on the hunting rifles I have optics on them, and that was because at some longer distances where I was hunting around Cuba, New Mexico, there's some really wide open spaces where you need optics to make distance shots, is the best way to put that. So before I started getting into the black rifle stuff, my original Kalashnikov was just basic open-sighted rifle. Why I did so well with the Kalashnikov is because it has the same sighting system as my Mauser does, basically. My K98, that is. I've had a K98 since I was, that was my first rifle. Well, my second rifle, technically speaking. My brother Rick giving me my first one, which was a 22. But my first hunting rifle was a Mauser rifle. I'm very intimately aware of how to use those and to tune those to get hits at extended distances. So to see this challenge, and I'm just now figuring out what is entailed, I think I could do it with one of 3 rifles, or all 3 rifles, to be blunt. I could probably do it with my K98 Mauser, especially with my hand loads. At 500 yards, it would take me a little bit of practice because I haven't done that in a while with that rifle, but I have done it. So the challenge, I think, consists of hitting targets at varying sizes, some from 13 to 10 to 8 to 2.5 inches, or 2 3/4 inches, or something like that, at 500 yards. Now, I know I can hit the larger targets. Anything more than a clay pigeon, I can hit at 500 yards with an open-sighted rifle. I've done it before. And the 3 guns I would actually considering doing it with are the ones I've had the most experience with, except for the newest one. Number 1 would be my K98. Number 2 would be my dad's M1 Garand. And number 3 would be my new 1903. And when I say new to me, thanks to my buddy that owns Go Rogue, Lance, I acquired a 1903 Springfield that I've recently done some extended shooting with, and I've extended range shooting with for open sights, and I am pretty impressed with its results right now with the loads I have for the 30-06. So why is this a quandary for me? It could be a quick $5,000, right? I don't know. I've had so much hype, especially from both of my brothers now, because my big little brother, my older brother, he had talked to me about it, and he said, yeah, Rick's been sending me those same videos, and I think you could do it. In fact, I know you could do it. And that's what my oldest brother said, is I know you could do this. You've done this type of thing before. So I'm still in the process of watching this to see exactly what the challenge entails. And this guy is a known long-range shooter, and I'm very interested, but I want to verify that I still have what it takes. My eyesight isn't what it once was, and I'm not sure I can identify a 2.5-inch target at 500 yards with open sights with either platform right now, and I want to verify I can do that. And if I can verify it, and I can verify that I can actually call the hits or make the hits that I need to on these targets, then I think I'm going to try to jump into this pool and see if I can make smoke. Now, maybe it'll elevate New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. Maybe I can earn $5,000 from it. Maybe it's just a good experience, and I choke when it comes time to squeeze the trigger and shoot the rifle. I don't think that's the case, though. And it's rarely do I feel extremely confident about a lot of things. One of them is with guns. My knowledge base, I continually learn. I continually strive to learn anything I can, to adjust my thinking, to make sure that it's not boomer mythology and that it's actual real methodology and real practical shooting ability and practical things. You know, I may get some things wrong about the laws sometimes, but I usually get things right when it comes to guns and what they do, how they interact, you know, the machine itself. When it comes to long-range shooting, I've been doing it since I started shooting. My dad was an experienced long-range shooter. He has trained me to do it since I was a young man. I've shot in competitions where I've gotten more knowledge from everyone else. A good sign of someone who's really intelligent is that they take direction, that they take failure as an opportunity. I do that. I've failed a lot in my life, but I've always seen myself as at least remarkably, you know, a little bit better each time. And that you're willing to take on challenges. Well, this one kind of speaks to my soul, my gun part of me. You know, there's parts of me that I'm married to this sport, to this type of culture. And maybe it's time to put my money where my mouth is and go out there and, you know, do what this gentleman's willing to put his money up and say, hey, can you do this? Now, the video I watched was with a guy using a Mosin Nagant, a garbage rod. But I think the reason, honestly, why that guy didn't do so well is he's using milsurp ammo. And if that's part of the rule, I could probably still do it, but I'm going to need a little bit of milsurp ammo to test because I haven't shot it in a long time. Specifically, for my K98, that's a little harder to find nowadays. You can still find Greek and you can find Slovakian milsurp ammo that's pretty serviceable. That's where I would probably have to put the stake in the ground if I'm going to use that. That's probably what I'd have to get enough of to try it. If I can use my hand loads, however, this gives me an advantage. Number one, I know the ballistics of what that round does, particular round for the 8mm or the .6. I know this round very well, both of them, because I made it. Meaning I may have not made the projectile, but I made the load itself. And I know its consistency and its makeup. So it's a known quantity, a known, so to speak. It'd be more so compensating for wind, compensating for the distance involved. 500 yards is not a extreme shot to me. I say that and missing my elk this last time at about 520 yards, and I did that because I ranged it wrong. I ranged it at 420 yards. And there's a dramatic difference in ballistic drop in 100 yards, especially at 500 yards, especially when you're shooting a .308. Okay, so I shot underneath the animal. Knowing what I know now, though, and knowing that this particular contest I want to figure out the exact sizes. I'm going to replicate the sizes on the ranges I go out and practice on. And if I'm consistent enough with a little bit of practice, then I'm going to try to throw my hat in the ring and see if I have a chance at this, if it's still going on by then. Because I'm pretty confident I can do this. It's not boastful. It's not prideful. It's because I've been learning how to do that type of thing for damn near 40 years. You know, I'm 46 now. When I started shooting a K98, I was about 7 or 8. So damn near 40 years I've had learning the platform, learning what the bullets do in it and what types of bullets to use for certain applications with the K98 specifically. With the M1, my dad's had 3 M1s in his lifetime. This was his crowning achievement, the one that I have now in my collection. And it was made to be shot at long-range shoots that, you know, they've had for years for M1 Grand shoots. And I'm pretty sure I can do this. The sighting system is all stock. The difference is that if you've shot an M1 Grand before and you know how to tune the sights, makes you really effective at a lot of distances really rapidly. And that's where I'm kind of going to hang my hat, is if I could use one of them, only one, I'd actually be kind of torn between the M1 and my K98. And the only reason why I'd be torn is because I have more trigger time, actual trigger time, with thousands of rounds on K98s, and probably about thousands of rounds on mine alone, that I would feel confident enough to take those shots. So why wouldn't I use a K98? Really, it has to do with bullet performance. If I'm going to try to enter a contest to where I'm shooting at extended distances like this, why not give myself the one bullet that has the best chance of performing all the time? And that's where the .6 just has a little bit better performance than a K98 does, than an 8mm Mauser or 7x57 Mauser. Or, well, I have those too, but 7.92 by 5.7 Mauser. That's the 8mm Mauser. I think the stock round for the 8mm Mauser, if I remember right, was a 196 grain bullet, up to 220 grain, I believe. And depends upon the surplus round. I think they go in either one of them. I've heard of some that are even down to 176 grain. Well, it's also, they've converted grains to metric, or from metric to grains, so it's this weird 176 grain bullet, I think. But I honestly think I could do it. You know, what I'm really surprised at is someone like Robski from AKOU hasn't found this contest and just went out and blown its doors off. Because I've seen him take shots with open-sighted rifles consistently, and his daughter Veronica doing it consistently at, you know, their little range that they have. And that's what gives me even more confidence I could do this, is, you know, I'm not a sniper. I kind of wanted to be at one point in my life, because I enjoy shooting long range. And I'm pretty sure my friend Mark could do it. Mark shoots at mile ranges all the time, and I don't know about his skill set with open sights, but I would guess that since you're only doing half of that 1,000-yard shot, that this would be something he could do pretty regularly, especially on a 10-inch or an 8-inch. It's that 2.5-inch target that has me wondering if I could do it. And it has more so because if you know anything about the sighting systems of the weapons I'm talking about, you would be pointing at a point in space using Kentucky windage at some degree, and being able to precisely figure out where you're pointing that front sight at that point in space at that long of a distance for something so small and so fine, it's doable, but it's not something I've done in a long time. Now, if the target is painted in like blaze orange, that would probably improve my chances. I don't know. Maybe these targets are actually camouflaged. I'm still watching the stuff to see what's going on, and I haven't got all the way through the first video because I'm still kind of taken aback that this seems too good to be true for someone like me. So wish me luck as I practice. If I do it, I'll put the video up on Rumble, and maybe I'll throw it up on YouTube and let you guys see me either succeed or fail rapidly. Like, share, subscribe, most importantly,